Welcome back, everybody, to episode 32 of the Jader and Kyle Show. As you can see, it's another typical episode this week. We were supposed to have Jader back, but unfortunately, he's just not doing well right now. And I have to go solo again. It's been tough lately. We've had a lot going on. I know it's Christmas time. We're all trying to feel joyous in the world, but it's just not happening right now. Oh, wait just a moment. Wait just a moment, guys. Something just popped up in the chat. I think someone's here. Let me. Oh, who's this? Who is this? Hello, sir. Who is this guy? Please state your name. Introduce yourself to the audience.
I hate you guys. I hate you guys. Yes, man.
Jader, welcome back, man. It's good to see you.
Babyface Jader is back, dude. I'm very sad about it.
Jader.
Yeah, dude. Very, very
Why
sad
is it
about
gone? What happened to the beard?
It was time, man. No, all right. I actually haven't said this to many people. Some people know, but not there's a lot of people that actually don't know that I went back to school. I started this venture off in September. Actually, it should have been sooner than September. However, obviously, this year 2020 has been one crazy year, and a lot of things happened. A lot of people lost their jobs, and a lot of just it was a very negative year overall. And it was an eye opener for me. I've always been a smart dude, a lazy one, but overall a smart guy, I feel, at least. And but I've always found the fast way to do things, right? So after high school, instead I went to college for a little bit, and I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. Fuck this. Found a serving job, and started from busser serving, getting behind a bar and all that, and just fast money. And then from there I went to retail, and then just started working my way up the ladder. So I've always been in retail, and I've always managed to try to make the best of this of the places where I work. Not saying that where I work now, which it's no surprise, we've said it a bunch of times here, but always worked at I work at T-Mobile now, and pre-COVID it was a fantastic job to have money wise. I was making a lot of money. But I started noticing when COVID was happening, obviously people were not trying to buy phones, and I don't blame them. It wasn't a time to do any of that stuff. It was a time to stay home and stay safe and what have you. And during that time, I kept telling myself, dude, I have to do something, because what happens? I started seeing peers of mine losing their jobs from when big corporate companies start chopping heads off. It's usually the bigger guys that go, and then it goes to the smaller guys. And I was like, what happened? I started seeing some of my peers, my old bosses, just losing their jobs, and I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, what am I going to do if I lost my job today? What would I do? So I told myself, what's out there, what's going on, who didn't stop working, who are the essentials, And ever since I got out of high school, I've always wanted to do medics and EMT medics, firefighting, the whole nine. And for my son has a big obsession now with firefighter trucks and all that. For his birthday, I have a buddy of mine, a really close friend of mine, that told me, hey, bring him out, bring him to the station, and we'll show him around. We'll get him on the truck, the whole nine. And I was like, I'm going to do that for him. So we went ahead and did that. And my son's eyes just, lit up. And I remember talking to my buddy, and he's like, we both had this kind of dream of becoming firefighters when we were in high school together. And he was like, you could have done this too, man, and I'll be honest with you, the main reason why I didn't follow through was because I heard the waiting list to become a firefighter in Miami-Dade was just, years. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time on a career that once I graduate, I won't even be able to work. Right. So anyways, I went up that day. He kind of told me, and I felt like, he got this job when he was 25. Right. We graduated at 18. He paid his dues. He waited. he was volunteering at hospitals and fire stations and all that. But it wasn't until 2013 or 14 where he actually got the job, right? Like almost 9, 10 years after we graduated. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, but long story short, we took my son. He told me, man, you could have been, you could have done this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I told him, man, I could have done this too. And he goes, it's not too late. I'm like, no, man, I'm right. Hitting the mid 30s now. And he goes, dude, I have people graduating at, 42, 43, 44, 45, doing this. So he kind of like woke me up, and my son's birthday was on a Saturday. That Monday I signed up for school, and I started September. And yesterday I took my final. But before I took my final, my fire instructor told me that I couldn't take my test until I shaved, that he let me go out long enough because I was like this the whole time. And it's funny because this was on Tuesday. I had my practical exam on Tuesday, which is scenarios. They put a dummy on the floor. You got to pick them up, put them on the stretcher. Hey, you got a gunshot patient, dude, take care, patch them up, all that stuff. And then we had a written exam yesterday. On Tuesday, when I show up, all the instructors there are very like what you typically see in a firehouse film, if you will. They're very chill, very laid back, and very like slick remarks, slick with the mouth, right? And the best dudes ever. So I was there, and then we all know I had COVID, which we'll jump into that in a bit. But when I got there with the instructor, that he's one of the strictest guys there, but very, very cool guy. His name's Mike, man. Shout out to Mike. He small talks me. Hey, man, how you feeling? How's everything, man? I'm like, oh, man, I feel great. I'm like, that thing sucked for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you, so on and so forth. So he's there chit-chatting with me, and he goes, why do you still have a beard? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, the school's never been that strict. And he goes, all right, well, we had a meeting last week, and every student is not supposed to have a beard. This has been said from the beginning of the year of not the year of the semester. And he's like, and we've been chill with you because you guys have to wear your mask and all that. And he goes, but you know what? He goes, you guys are getting certified this week. He goes, you guys are gonna grab your jobs now. He's like, on your written, he goes, you're lucky I'm not sending you home right now to go shave before you do the exam. So he's like, I'm gonna let you take the exam today, but on Thursday, he goes, you will be here with a clean shaved face. And he goes, in fact, I want it so clean. He's like, I'm gonna put a credit card on your face, and if the credit card bumps or anything or falls off, you're not taking your test. So
that's not fair.
Yeah, dude. So, and this was already 2 days, and it's already, it's already scruffy. Not scruffy, but what have you. But anyway, so I show up to class on Thursday. Everybody's like, dude, let me see, because it was quite a few of us that had beards, right? So all the guys obviously shaved and whatnot. But when we get there, we give me a second, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, and we're taking a dog break right now.
No.
Welcome back.
So when we show up to class, we're sitting down and what have you, and then they when we get there, there's only one instructor, and we're all like, hey, where's Fireman Mike? And he's like, oh, he's not coming today. So our main instructor, his name's Mario. He's like, why? What's going on? And then I'm like, oh, nothing. I'm like, he told us to shave, and he starts laughing, and he goes, yeah, he's not coming until January, dude. He took his 2-week vacation. He goes, you guys didn't have to shave. So yeah.
It's like that scene in Whiplash where he tells them to be there at 6 a.m. the next day, and then he shows up at 6 a.m. and class until 9. That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened, dude. So whatever it is.
But we're excited to have you back, Jader. It was a fun episode last week. I wish you could have been here, but I'm glad you're fully healthy and recovered again, drinking from your Ant-Man glass. So it's good to see you, man. We are not alone today, though. Today we are joined by another special guest. Yes, there's an Ant-Man glass right there. We're joined by another special guest. She has been on the show before. You know her. Her name is Gia, or is she there? Yes. Welcome back, Gia.
Welcome back, Gia.
Thank you guys so much for having me back. I'm so excited. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. And Jader, okay, you are the man. Seriously. Thank you so much for everything you do for your son, for us, like as an essential worker at T-Mobile and everything with going back to school. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. And I love the credit card story. Like, you don't hear much about whiplash teachers or instructors lately because everyone is very like, everyone is much kinder now, but you do have to hope for those kinds of stories.
This school that I go to is the least PC school ever. Like,
it's Miami.
They get on our asses, man. Like, and the very first thing they all say when they introduce themselves is, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I work for so-and-so department. I will be your instructor today." They're like, "If you are offended by foul language, I don't care."
Yeah.
They're like, you're in the wrong line of work if this offends you. So, boom, and then they just let us have it, and I'm like, holy crap.
There you go.
Like, there's some times where there's this one kid in our class, man, and I call him a kid because he's just graduated high school. He's 18 years old, and he doesn't know when to shut up. And it's like it's an hour roast when he's in class with us, and it's non-freaking stop, for lack of a better word. It's just every time. In fact, when they see him walk in, they're like, "Oh," and then it's like every single instructor just tags him. It's crazy.
It's like the military. You always have the same thing, like with cops, with firefighters, EMT. It's the same. I love it though, because you're real people.
I love it. My regret, honestly, is that I should have done this a lot sooner, because I absolutely love this. Everything that I've learned so far, and I still have a ways to go. But the only decision that I regret is that I should have done this years ago instead of waking up so late.
Better late
Don't
than
regret
never.
it.
You're in it now, Jader. I see you both are in a very festive mood. Gia with the Santa hat, and then Jader's got his Halloween shirt.
If I could do Halloween every day, every year, I'd be the happiest person alive. So
I think COVID's still on your mind a little bit. You're a little confused on what time of the year it is.
Well, Kyle, you look sharp as heck in that white shirt. That's like the classic movie guy white t-shirt, like the button down. And Amelia Clark will be very impressed.
I hope she is, and I hope she's tuning in right now, along with Mr. Feig and Henry Golding. I'm so happy to be doing the movie we're doing today, guys, but we will get to that later. We're going to have a discussion about it. We usually do an interview portion here on the show where we talk to our special guests, but Gia is well known to you guys. So very popular episode last time she was here when we did the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Very fun episode.
I love that.
So much fun.
So much to talk about that movie.
Great time. We got to do more Judd Apatow in the future. Next year, when the Jader and Kyle show continues, we are not stopping, everybody. The show will be back next year.
We need you.
Yes. So today we decided, we haven't done this in a while, Jader. We haven't talked about what's going on in the film industry. We usually grab a news story and talk about it, but there's been quite a few things lately. I just thought of this right now with the whole Disney slot where they announced every single thing they got coming out. And then HBO Max and Warner Brothers decided to take a giant dump on the rest of the industry and announced that next year all of their films are going to be on HBO Max and the theaters on the same exact day. So let's have a quick discussion about that, guys. When you saw this, G, I'll start with you. What did you think?
Sure. Well, I just heard about this pretty recently, of course, too. And there's a lot I really have to catch up with as far as HBO Max and all these streaming services. But my main concern, this isn't obviously new. This has been happening throughout the year with only, of course, a sporadic amount of movies. But I'm concerned with the award show season because particularly for the Oscars, in order to qualify, you have to be in a certain amount of theaters, whether in California and around the country. Mm-hmm. And it's just because it is unprecedented. I wonder how it's going to affect the awards season. But also I'm wondering if they should just take the L for all of this. And it's a whole thing. That's mostly what I'm worried about. And you guys are telling me before backstage how for Wonder Woman 1984, they're getting $10 million off the cuff.
Yes.
So what do you guys think about that? I'm not really sure what I think about it yet. it makes sense. It's kind of obvious, but
weren't they the ones? All right, so let's go back to when
Sure.
COVID first hit and they released Trolls. Who's in charge of Trolls?
Universal.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So okay, it was Universal. Yeah, you're right. I see them.
So Warner Brothers' whole thing was Tenet. When Tenet was coming out, that was the movie that was trying to be the first one to go back to theaters. And Nolan was pushing really hard. I want to be the first one. This movie's going to bring everyone back. And Tenet came out. And
I bought this week on 4K. I just haven't seen it yet.
Hey.
Yeah, I bought it, but I haven't seen it. I
Okay.
was trying to see it yesterday. That didn't happen. Tonight I have the kids, so it won't happen. I'll probably be seeing it by Sunday night. But I'm pretty hyped. I've been dying to see that movie since the first time I saw the trailer. I know Kyle's has his mixed emotions about Nolan, but I am a Nolan lover overall, so I'm pretty hyped for the film. And you know, again, what better way to watch it with 4K and the whole thing. Kyle, I had this discussion with him before that I wanted to see it. Because everyone tells me that sees it, make sure you watch it with subtitles. And Kyle's like, I dare you to take the challenge of watching it how everybody else watched it in the theater to see if you understand anything they say in that movie. But
it's because the music's so loud when this is whenever there's like important dialogue happening, the music's so loud that you can't tell what's going on. So that's what made me frustrated in the theater. So the subtitles are really going to help me when I get to watch it later. I'm definitely going to try to see it again. But as far as it's like, come on, Christopher. I mean, you've been doing this forever, man. I'm concerned about his hearing. To be completely honest,
that's one thing that Christopher Nolan does. Remember when we got the trailer for The Dark Knight Rises? I didn't understand a word that Tom Hardy was saying under pain, and then we had to go back because that was everyone's complaint. And then they had to go back and, re-record his lines or whatnot. And I hear that I still haven't seen Dunkirk because every single person in CST and PCP were all about hating that film and how the ticking never stopped and how you couldn't hear shit. So I think it is a Nolan, one of those the attributes with his films. But going back, I remember when the Trolls went straight to VOD, and everyone lost their shit. Well, the studios lost their shit. Not the studios. I'm sorry, the movie theaters. Dunkirk is shit. There you go. but yeah, I remember when that Trolls did that, and the movie theaters were they're never gonna play another Universal film. Blah 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 whatever. But then now you have HBO doing this like ultimate flex, which pissed off their directors, their Nolans and their Denis Villeneuve and your Patty Jenkins and all that. So I understand what they're going for. Like it's better to release these films than to shelf them. I hate this decision, but love it at the same time. Haven't gone through COVID. That sucked. I kind of don't want to go out ever. But there's no love like going to the movie. Like there's a meme going around that's like missing walking down the aisle, and it's the movie theater aisle. And I'm like, I relate to that so much because I absolutely miss going to the theater. I haven't been to the movies. I didn't go see Tenet. I haven't gone back since before COVID. I think The Invisible Man was the last movie I saw in the theater, or Sonic the Hedgehog, whichever came after. So those are the last two films that I saw in theater, if I'm not mistaken. So I missed that, and I feel like this, as people are saying it's not, I feel like this can potentially will kill movie theaters because all your big budget films that are meant to be seen on a big screen. Again, something like Wonder Woman, if you're going to tell me that it's released on Christmas, which is usually, it used to be, I haven't done it in the last couple of years, but Christmas tradition for me was going, we'd open our gifts and all that, have a little bit of lunch, nap if you wanted to, rest a little bit. And then, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, you go to the movies and see that big film that released on Christmas, And that, again, I remember when they announced that Wonder Woman was going to be released on Christmas and they still hadn't pulled it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and see this movie because I absolutely love the first Wonder Woman film. I think that movie's fantastic.
Me too. Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and-
Jader, I'm totally with you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. So
Yeah.
hearing the choice that you can see it at home, my initial thought, and I'm not gonna lie to you, was like, damn, should I even go to even though the theater tickets right here are super cheap. I haven't even looked. I don't even know if my AMC stubs is still active. They haven't charged me, so I don't think it's activated, you know? But the one thing that I thought, this is where my brain went. It was like, oh man, would you go and see it in the theater or just go from home? But I'm like, I'm a theater guy. Like I would want to go see. Now, the positive for me, which not everyone's going to do this, is, when you go see a movie that you absolutely love, like, let's say Whiplash, you saw Whiplash, first time you saw Whiplash and you're like, holy shit, this movie's awesome. I want to see it again. So I feel like that Wonder Woman effect for the people that love the theater, you can go see it in the movie theater. And then as soon as you get home, if you love it that much, you have it at home. You can see it again. So that's kind of the silver lining, but I feel like not everyone's going to do that. Not everybody's going to go risk their lives because it is. COVID sucks, guys. It sucks. All right. And it's real. A lot of people are like, oh, no, it's just it's not, man. It sucks. It really does.
I'm so sorry you went through it.
No, it's fine. It is what it is,
Yeah.
And what's crazy, and let me clarify this. If you're my friend on Facebook, I haven't been the best at staying home. Like I will go out and I will have a couple beers. I'm like, and there's that meme again going around where you sit down, where it's like sitting at the restaurant and then you're like, quick, get to the table before the COVID hits us. Cause as soon as you sit at a restaurant, you can take it off. And it's like, they have a little COVID, viruses floating around everywhere. Like it's not going to get you once you sit down on your table. Mm-hmm. But I know I haven't been the best, but crazy enough, I didn't end up getting it from, the wedding that I went to or the bachelor party that I went to, first ed wedding or this and that and that. I caught it literally from a coworker of somebody that I knew. Like they had it, they interacted. I interacted with that person and that's how I got it. It wasn't even one of my ventures or anything like that. Right. But anyways, going back to the whole thing, I feel it's the safest thing not to shelf it, because again, they did dish out money to make this movie, and people, if you shelf it for a long time, they're not gonna care, So, what better way on Christmas when people are gonna be home? What do we do at night? Because once the presents are open, that's what it is. And hey, look, the new Wonder Woman. Let's all sit down and watch it. So there's a silver lining there. I understand why they're doing it, but I just hope this is a temporary thing versus
I think it's going to be temporary too.
It's a temporary solution. That's all I wish for, because I'm going to be very sad if this is the end of movie theaters as we know it.
I really don't think it is. And especially because even last year with The Irishman, it came out like immediately it was on Netflix too. And that was the whole argument with Scorsese. He was like, please do not watch this movie online or on your phone. Like go to the big screen and watch it later. That was his whole argument.
Well, you had to plan like a week out for that.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But I think it's the same thing with today too. And even the prom, since I've been back in Florida, like I'm here for another like 2 months. Like if it was the same thing. Like you go to the theater and it's also on Netflix. So you just have options. And I think people need those options. One, because of course we need entertainment. And two, because all of these streaming services need to compete with each other. And now you have freaking Paramount coming up with like 1,000 different reboots for shows, which I'm actually very excited about. But I really do think it's just using the digital space for that competition to drive it. And I think that's all. I think that's really it. Hopefully that's the end of the story. But yeah, I think it's a temporary.
Can we put Steve's ludicrous comment on our page now?
Let me jump in here for a sec, because let me just give you guys some of the titles that are being pushed to theaters and streaming service same day. Mortal Kombat, The Little Things, which is a Denzel Washington garbage crime movie, which I am all for. I love garbage crime movies. Tom and Jerry, The Many Saints in Newark, which is the
I can't freaking wait. I'm trying not to curse. That's going to be amazing.
You're good. You can curse.
Fuck that shit.
Okay. I will.
Godzilla versus King Kong, The Conjuring 3, In the Heights, Space Jam 2, The Suicide Squad.
I cannot wait for In the Heights.
You have The Suicide Squad, Dune, King Richard, which is Will Smith playing Serena Williams and Venus Williams' father. The Matrix 4, Sherlock Holmes 3, and Judas and the Black Messiah, which is a brand new Daniel Kaluuya film produced by.
That movie looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That movie looks so great.
And then Malignant, which is a new James Wan horror movie. So these are some massive titles that are supposed to be coming out next year that you can see at home the same day. Here's what I think. You can't keep pushing these movies back. Studios invest a lot of time into these films, and the directors, the filmmakers, they can't keep waiting to do the promotional tour to start their next film, because they have other projects in the works that need to get started on, and they can't just sit back and wait an entire another year to get their movie out there. So you need to put these movies out right now. We missed out on a lot last year, and now we're getting it finally this year. And yeah, it sucks that we're not going to be able to, see it in theaters. And I really do, honestly, it's very morbid, but theaters are going away, and it's really unfortunate. That's just the way the industry. It sucks. It's the way the industry is going right now. And you look at on the other end, Disney just doing this entire presentation about how all this stuff they're putting on Disney Plus. And you're going to be sitting at home watching that stuff. We all are. All these Marvel shows and Star Wars shows. And that Star Wars presentation, they announced 2 movies and 8 streaming service shows. The Marvel stuff was like 4 movies and tons of streaming service stuff. So it's the way of the future. It's the way it's going. I don't know if people are really going to be itching to go back to theaters at this point. You need something big, something where your only option is to go to a theater. And I really think Black Widow's the last shot theaters have in May to really make a comeback, because it's not going to be Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's available to you at home. So now you're stuck with, I think, the next big Marvel thing. And if that doesn't work out, I think that's it, guys. I really do. And it's too bad. But also, if people start going back to the theaters, I could see Warner Brothers reversing this decision and saying, okay, we did it for the first half of the year. The second half, vaccines out, people are doing better. It's all going to be in movie theaters now, guys. And let's see what happens. So it's very, I can see both sides of it at this point too. The directors you mentioned, they're getting frustrated with it. Nolan and Denny are big theater people. Patty Jenkins, she must have been so upset that she decided to go to Disney and get a Star Wars movie. So it's going back and forth all over the place. I can see both sides, but it's just the way the industry is going.
Well, yeah, and you go where the work is too, and Wonder Woman, like 1984, was already pushed back, so everyone's really backed into a corner. And but Kyle, I totally see where you're going, but I really do hope that it's not the end of life for movies.
And me too. I hope it's not the end as well. But it just feels like that's where we're going. And Steve, the movie is called Songbird, not Bird Song. So just want to point that out.
This is the behind the scenes guide, guys.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. In the Heights, it's going to be the same thing when theaters back. People cannot wait for it to be back, and same thing with musical movies. I know how Scott and Steve feel about movie musicals, but I think there's still so much craving for that spectacle, and it's good. We're good. Studios are going to have to pick and choose what they're going to make exclusive in theaters only. But I think if they strategize it well enough, it could happen, and it could still be really successful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say the final thought here. We're moving on, guys. That's funny. All right. Well, I mean, my final thought is this. Look, I don't blame HBO Max again for doing this, because I feel like they do need to get some bigger or greater films on HBO. HBO Max has some great ones, but they have things like Last Christmas, which is where I just saw this movie on HBO. And I don't know if you guys want to talk about that.
Lucky you. I mean, you should feel so grateful that you got to experience this joyful film at the comfort of your home on a streaming service that you have ready for you during Christmas time. It's just perfect, Jader. So
I would rather get COVID again than to
get the hell out of here.
That is definitely the line of the night, for sure.
All right, let's get into it. Last Christmas is our film of the week. I am so excited to talk about this, guys.
Call this movie the George Michael special. Like,
what's so bad about that?
Oh my god,
yes.
dude. there was not. I mean, no, I don't hate George. I mean, no, I actually enjoy George Michael, but a movie that literally there was every single song that was played in that movie was a George Michael song. And I know, I mean, it's 2 against 1 here, and I understand that, and I'm ready to go to battle. But holy shit. It starts off, and I'm like, all right, I know the movie's called Last Christmas. I know I'm going to hear this song, but I heard it like 4 times in the first 20 minutes. 4 times in the first 20 minutes. And it starts off with another George Michael song in the, in the choir and all that stuff when she's, she's singing and all that.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
okay, came to battle.
So very interesting that is your take on it. And so you're totally right. That's it. And I'm very happy that you guys asked me to come on this episode because it's
we wouldn't
the
have
same
any other
argument.
way.
Oh, thank you.
It's the first thing that we thought about. We're like, oh no. He's like, we should do Last Christmas, and then I'm like, great. And he's like, and we're gonna get G on the show. I'm like, great. Yeah.
Thank you very much. But there's a lot of really cool, interesting points with this. And honestly, Last Christmas as a movie musical is really the same thing as jukebox musicals. And you either love them or you hate them. End of story. And if you go back to Blinded by the Light with with of course all the Bruce Springsteen songs, you're gonna have Rocket Man, you're gonna have all these different biopics. It's either gonna be a bio musical or a jukebox. And I feel like at least with Blinded by the Light, that's the most similar format to Last Christmas. It worked because it was a unique story. And what I loved about Last Christmas, especially when you mentioned the first 20 minutes, I love how Emma Thompson wrote it. First of all, she wrote this. She did a wonderful job. She infused all these really cool human elements. And I loved how they used the song. Last Christmas came on after when she was doing a fucking walk of shame. Hysterical, very unexpected. And she was just a story of this really troubled 20-something that didn't just have her heart broken. So it wasn't a typical use of George Michael songs, and I really liked it. And I'm sure we're gonna get into a lot more. And this is Kyle's favorite Christmas movie now, so I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
He absolutely loves this stuff,
guys.
Yeah.
So my mind was blown watching it. All right, let me tell you this. I don't pick up on a lot of stuff, both in musicals and in my life. Whenever there's signs, I usually miss them. So as I'm watching this movie and the big reveal happens towards the end with what's going on, I sang the song to myself in my head and went, oh my God, how did I not see this coming?
How did you not see? Dude, I saw it. I swear to you. At first I thought he's homeless and he's showing her that there's better things about life and this and that and that. But when they started talking about I'm like, oh my God, this is like a freaking Fight Club thing.
He gave his heart.
But I got it way early, man. I'm like, all right. I'm like, because I wasn't, I don't know. Like, again, I didn't hate the movie. It's not the worst movie I've seen. But I guess since I saw it coming, or I had already kind of figured it out, I thought he was homeless. And then once she went to the shelter and she started like bettering herself and all that, I'm like, oh no, is this like a Ghost of Christmas Past type thing where, and it kind of is. It's kind of what it is.
Oh no, it's beautiful.
But no, it's not that. It's not. When I see it coming, or when I saw it coming again, and the movie had still like not given it to me, and I'm like, okay, I already know, dude. Like, let's get to where we're going. It took forever to get there for me because I felt like I figured it out really fast. And when they gave it to me, I wasn't surprised because I had figured it out. So I was just like, oh, okay. Like, it's sweet. It's a sweet message. Yeah. And again, when you replay the song in your head, you're like, oh shit, okay. But
yeah. Well, Steve is saying that it's a version of A Christmas Carol, which is a really interesting perspective. Yeah. It's something that I caught the first or the second time that I watched it. And I admit I did love it way more the second time. But it was a nice homage to everything, but still with a really cool story. And I love the fact that like another cool element with the homeless people, like as an angle, was that like it showed us that they're still real people and they're even talented. They had a whole show at the end of the movie. So I really thought of them as an entirely separate part and like a foil of itself, not even like a real part of the plot. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, if we're gonna, well, probably the only positives I'm gonna talk about this movie.
Save it. I don't want
Okay, I'll be nice. I'll be nice, just in case, because I am a big fan of Mr. Feet. But my favorite parts of this film is when she's literally bettering herself. When there's no Henry Golding. Not that he was bad, but I cared more about when she was doing her self-love and and actually again apologizing to her sister for being an asshole, or giving the chance to her mom, and everything that she was doing. When again Tom was telling her, like, talking about Santa or whatever, and which Michelle Yeoh was great in this, by the way.
She was
fantastic. Everything with her and that boyfriend is amazing.
I love that guy.
But when he's like, oh, what have you done to be nice to her, or what have you done for her lately, type shit, and then she starts picking up, and then Michelle Yeoh still giving her a second chance, despite of her being so careless and leaving the store open and saying, you turned me into a criminal. But her just picking herself back up and going is probably the thumbs up I give this movie. Again, I was like, all right, I like this.
It's really about turning your life around, and how it's never too late. Like she has that open heart surgery, and then instead of using it as a second chance, she's throwing it all away because she's just using it to, I'm still alive, but life sucks. I'm not going to sing anymore. I'm going to go sleep around, drink. I don't really care what's going on. I don't want to talk to my family anymore. She's really hit rock bottom. And when she first meets Tom, she's looking at him as just another guy that she can move on to. Like, okay, this is the next guy I'm going to, hook up with, be a fun night, and then kind of move on. And he doesn't allow her to do that. He shows her to look up. And I think that's such a great message, to look up. He's the first time to interact. He takes her around and says, look up at this, look up at this. There's so much more in this world. If you stop looking down, not just at your feet, but in life, and look up at the positives that are coming your way, and you're going to be so much happier in life. And it really opens up. He's at the end. Emilia Clarke's got one of the best smiles I've ever seen, and from any actor or actress out there. When she's smiling at the end singing, you feel that genuine turn that she's made in her life. And I just really appreciate that. I mean, guys, going into this, it's a movie directed by Paul Feig, who I love, by the way. Paul Feig, if I could meet any director, he's my best friend at this point.
I mean, he knows who you are, Kyle.
He knows exactly. He read my review for this movie. Paul, I'm trying to get Paulie on the show, guys. Trust me, we're tight.
Hey, we shot our shot. We
did.
We're like, hey, man, what's up?
Well, you got to try it. But Paul Feig directed it, who just coming the year before did A Simple Favor, which is fantastic, by the way. Also done Bridesmaids, The Heat, stuff like that. So Paul Feig directs it, along with Emilia Clarke, who is a fantastic actress, along with Henry Golding, is one of the more up-and-coming actors out there. Emma Thompson wrote it, and she also stars in it. To me, like, this movie just couldn't fail. Oh, and on top of that, we're going to mix in George Michael music, which I'm surprised that's the most controversial thing from everybody who doesn't like this movie. It's too much George Michael. Like, Tim, where are you, man? You're supposed to be in this chat contributing along, and I don't see you. Why don't you guys like George Michael?
That's unreal. If people think he's not worthy enough to have a whole movie with movies about him. And here's the kicker. When it comes to Christmas movies, from a fellow Christmas freak with a Christmas tattoo, if people say that Last Christmas is not their favorite or their top 5 favorite songs, they're fucking lying. Okay? Mm-hmm. Everyone loves that song. Jader, please correct me if I'm wrong. Do you not like it? The synths make you immediately cry. It gives you a jolt in your heart. It was a perfect way to start off.
I'll take Last Christmas over the Mariah Carey song. I'll tell you that much.
Whoa!
Thank you. I agree. Yeah, chestnuts. Forget chestnuts. Okay,
yeah.
Last Christmas is a huge modern favorite.
I obviously was watching the movie upstairs. My kids were, playing. They tuned in for a little bit, watching what's going on, and I had to quickly explain to them what's going on.
Yeah.
But they went back. My son went to take a shower, just a bath. I'm sorry, right before I came downstairs, and he was singing. Not the song wasn't playing, but he was singing Last Christmas in the bathtub, and I'm like, damn, this shit is catchy, man.
This is so catchy. Yeah, and Anthony's commenting Christmas songs suck. Bah humbug, Anthony. Come on. If you're not into it, then I don't know. I don't know what to say.
What's funny enough? Out of all the George Michael songs they played, right? They played one that I absolutely love, and it's One More Try. I love
Yeah.
that. And it's, you know, obviously she's, you know, all down in the bar drinking and all that shit, and they play. I'm like, God damn it, bro! I was trying to talk a lot of shit about this movie. Now they play in this one, and I love Faith. You know, it's again not. It's just not a knock on George Michael, but I really didn't think that this movie was gonna have the whole
Whole
soundtrack, the best of George Michael. So,
But it's so fun. It's just,
but again, I do love Christmas. I have a Nightmare Before Christmas tattoo. You know,
see, there you go.
it's a Christmas film as well as it is a Halloween film. But I mean, I think Kyle hyped this movie way too much for like that. I'm like, all right, let's see what this is. And I do love Emilia Clarke. We'll obviously get into categories and all that stuff in a little bit. I saw a little bit of Henry Golding recently because I had just, again, with COVID and watching movies and all that, I just saw The Gentleman, and he was great in that too. I love him in Crazy Rich Asians, and I think that's all I've seen him in. I don't even know.
Simple Favor.
Oh, that's right. He was. Oh, that's right. He was.
He's wonderful.
He was great in that. Yeah.
And I do feel the need to make, if it's okay, to make a connection with Judd Apatow. Did you guys know or realize that Paul Feig was Tim in Heavyweights?
Yeah.
That Judd Apatow directed?
With the short, with the jean shorts.
Yes.
And yes,
and
dude.
He's like to Love Machine. He just goes nuts.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, love that scene in Heavyweights. So this is the thing. I've seen Heavyweights so much growing up. It was one of those, like, it is one of those childhood films for me. Sandlot. When they mention childhood films, it's Mighty Ducks, Sandlot, Heavyweights has to be in there, and Home Alone, obviously, and all that. But I loved Heavyweights growing up. I still love that movie, and I still find it so hilarious. I actually tried showing it. And it's funny you mentioned Heavyweights because I was talking about it yesterday with a friend. He said a line of dialogue from that movie, and I looked at him, I'm like, Heavyweights, and he goes, "Fuck, you're good, dude." And I'm like, love that movie.
You've never seen Christmas Vacation?
No, man.
Jader, that's gonna be your new favorite. That's my favorite.
Oh my God. So okay, we're gonna make this a very, very long story short. I like to give Steve shit every single time that I see him. I will give him some sort of shit. He posted a pop figure of Clark Griswold. And everyone was going crazy, and me being me, I'm like, who's that? So he was like, Clark Griswold, what do you mean? And I'm like, okay, I can read. What are you talking about? And he's like, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I was like, never seen it.
Or any vacation movies. You don't know Clark
Griswold? I'm like, never seen it. I have. I absolutely love Christmas Vacation, but I was just being me.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
I was just being myself and giving him shit. So I thought I had this long joke going for a while where he actually sent me like an ornament, like
with
TikTok.
I have one too.
Oh, okay. So there's a TikTok with the ornaments where he's going in and all that shit. Yeah. And he sends it to me, and I'm like, oh, I don't get it. And he's like, are you serious? And he goes, doesn't that make you want to see the movie? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, National Lampoon's Vacation, Christmas Vacation. And I'm like, don't know what you're talking about. And then he goes, doesn't that want to make you see the movie though? And I'm like, whatever. Like a minute goes by, and I'm like, dude, I'm giving you shit. I love that movie. That movie's fantastic. This and that. And he goes, yeah, I wanted to see how long this was going on. And he sends me my list of when we did top Christmas films of all time for the page when we were doing the top 10.
Yeah.
And my number 4 was Christmas Vacation. I was like,
you're number 4. Interesting.
Yeah, it was Die Hard, Nightmare, Home Alone, and then
cool. Solid.
Not a bad list, yeah.
No, good list. Respect.
Boring. It's all the same ones. Like...
Well, Last Christmas is Kyle's number 1 for sure.
Oh no, I know that.
You also got The Night Before. That's another one I love. That's probably be coming up soon on the show.
Like next week. Sneak peek.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, next week we're definitely going to get into that one. Otherwise, guys, do we have any other thoughts before we jump into the categories?
No, actually, let's jump into the category because that's how I can keep moving. I don't mean that in a bad way, actually. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Well, I know Jader came fully prepared, so we're gonna go to him first. Best scene, Jader. What is your best scene?
Best scene for me is. Let's get back to me, man. Hold on.
Perfect. Gia, what is the best scene?
Okay. I have a few and maybe like some honorable mentions, but I kind of brought this up before. I just love the fucking opening. It's so good, and I love the bar scene when they play Heal the Pain, and then that leads to the lullaby scene when she sings it to him later. It was the perfect back and forth, and I loved it because watching it the second time, I miss being sad in a bar. I know how weird that sounds, but I miss like being able to feel something and go somewhere, listen to music and talk to people. And I feel that was just a really beautiful way to bring us back into December.
Jader, I'm gonna go to you last. Because
I gotta fuck that. I'm gonna remember now. You're going last. This is your favorite. Your favorite movie. When they're playing Freedom, I actually had mentioned it earlier. When she's bettering herself.
Yeah.
I love that because again, and that's probably the again another positive of them is the message it sends out where again you had a second chance and you feel like you're nothing or you want to be this actress and this and that and it's just life is going hard on you even though you did have a second chance. And I love all the nice things, even though when she went to volunteer in the not brisket, man. I'm thinking barbecue. What do they give though when they're telling her to do the tea?
The biscuits.
Biscuits. There you go. And then she's like kind of like I liked her initial attempt where she's like, I'm gonna give this shit a shot, and she goes right in front of the shelter and she just starts singing. Yeah. And she only got $5, but she kept doing it. And then after that made her become a better person overall. So that's probably that little montage with Freedom and when she's trying to when they're doing their tryouts.
So cute.
I love that because they all were talented. And I love that they shine light on that they, despite of what life threw at them, they had their talents, so that's probably it for me.
My favorite scene is the first time they go to Tom's apartment when he brings her there to stay the night because she's expecting, okay, I'm going to hook up with this guy and this is going to, that's what I've been waiting for. And instead of that, she opens up to him and they sit on the floor and she kind of lays in his lap and just opens her heart out to him about how, my life was supposed to be one way and then it all changed because of this. And now it's different now. And he really connects with her and settles her down and makes her feel comfortable. And when she's like, okay, can we go lay in your bed? He's like, okay, she gets in the bed and he covers her up. Not tonight. And that's it. And I just love the connection they make there because it feels so authentic and real that this isn't just
Is it authentic and real though?
Yes, it is. They're connected. They're more connected than you can ever be.
Literally, yes.
And he says a line, which this is going to be my best line. I'm just going to transition into this right now while they're sitting on the floor, where she's like, she says that she's not normal. And he says, there's no such thing as normal. It's a stupid word. It does a lot of damage. And it's such a powerful moment because being normal is the status quo that a lot of people try to strive for. And it's not the best. People think normal is what you need to be, and it's not. You need to be yourself. And she never allowed herself to get to that point after her surgery. And he really opens up her eyes to that. So that's a line that I really appreciate about that and that entire scene in general. So let's go back to Gia. Gia, what is your best line from this film?
Oh, best line. I'm gonna go on with the comedic route because that was my favorite sentimental line. But I loved it's a really, really small line when she when Emilia Clarke is trying to set Santa up with that guy again and kind of derail her, and then she works with the customer and he's like, let me show you the nutcracker, and she's like, oh, there's bigger nuts, and she's like, there's bigger nuts, and
big nuts.
That was really cute. Yeah. And the lesbian pudding and our neighbor, Dick is our neighbor, stop saying Dick is
Yeah.
God damn it.
I know. I'm sorry.
The translation for me killed me. Because they're like, oh, it's penis, and then he's like, oh, but it also means dick. He's like, dick is her neighbor. What his name is? That shit killed me. That was probably
so Emma Thompson.
a laugh out loud moment for me where I was like, this is fucking funny.
Can we take a moment to appreciate Emma Thompson real quick in this film? She's
Please.
not in it much.
Well, she's going to be in my category.
Okay, so all right, so let's get to that then. Casting what ifs, there wasn't any for this film. If you just kind of look down the line at the actors in it, I mean, Emma Thompson wrote it, so she's obviously going to be in it. Henry Golding already had a connection to Paul Feig because of Simple Favor, so he was going to be in it. And I feel like Emilia Clarke was probably his first choice. So there wasn't any research out there for casting what ifs. I think he kind of got the cast that he wanted in the first place. So we can skip that category completely today and move on to the Mahershala Ali Award for Best Sharpshooter. The character does the most in the least amount of time. I think there's quite a few options for this award this time. And it sounds like Jader wanted to jump in here. And
Emma Thompson, bro.
Okay. Emma Thompson.
I don't know how this is not unanimous. I understand that there were a lot of great roles. Well, there's a lot of roles in this film. But I think Emma Thompson crushed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't read the credits. I didn't know she wrote this film until Gia told me on the pre-show. But I thought she was hilarious. She played a very I want to say a real character, not relatable character, a very real character. That whole family had real issues. The sister, not admitting that, that she was gay, the dad and mom losing that connection, the dad not wanting to go home, the dad losing, obviously trying to provide for the family or the issues that he had, gave up his life of, becoming a lawyer. And then I guess drilling it, because some parents, when I can't do it, you have to do it. Drilling it in the sister, because when they had that argument on the table, that's another great scene in the movie. That argument, It was very raw. It was a very raw scene. I guess I like this movie, man. That I'm talking about. but
Peter, I'm telling you, I think because I felt the very similar way when I first saw it, and
it's funny because Steph walked into the house because she went she ran errands with my daughter, and it was just me and Adrian watching. Well, Adrian was playing on his Switch, but he would pop up here and there, what's going on now, but Steph literally walked in during the reveal, where I was like, turn around. I'm like, just look down, don't listen to it. I pause it. I'm like, just go away. I'm like, because I know this is right up her alley. I know she will love this movie. So I know I'm going to sit through it again. Probably will be playing on the Switch like Adrian and just kind of focusing here and there. But it's one of those films where I'm like, oh, she needs to see this, because again, she's more of a sucker for these movies than I am, obviously. But that very raw scene and that very real scene where the dad was obviously, again, I already said it, with the connection between them, the sister, Emilia obviously feeling at her lowest, but taking that jab as a sibling usually does when they're feeling at their lowest, and calling her out, the parents obviously freaking out, because what have you or whatever. But then the sister saying the dad being all excited that the sister got the second promotion. And she's like, oh, you're living the dream. And she's like, oh, the dream that was shoved down my throat. And I'm like, damn, that's some real shit, man. So I like the writing in this, character-wise. The writing was really good because everyone was going through, their shit. So, yeah.
I'll jump in here. I went with Michelle Yeoh. I love Emma Thompson in this film, and I think she's, she plays a real mother. And that whole scene where her and Emilia Clarke are at the doctor's office, and they're just saying the opposites for every single question that comes through is hilarious. But I went with Michelle Yeoh because every time she's in it, she's over the top, but she's not pushing it. She's right at that border there, and she can get serious when she needs to. Because Jader brought up earlier, that scene where after the break-in happens and she has to really get down on Emilia Clarke and let her know you just made me a criminal because of this. And I cover for you because I really care about you. And I want you, I want to give you another chance, but this is it right here. Michelle Yeoh is she's spectacular in everything. And I just really appreciate what she had to offer in this film. So I'm going with her. Gia, who do you have for this? Oh man, did we lose Gia?
No way. She was like
Oh,
solid.
okay. Well, it was a tie, of course, between these two. And Kyle, I think giving Michelle, yeah. Well, so Emma Thompson was my vote for sure, but I do feel Michelle does need that honor because she did do an excellent job. And go back to everything Jader was saying about the writing. Like it's all about. Is like because of all the real elements and the part when Marta wasn't a star and she's like, you're a really hard worker. Yeah, but what am I, a piece of shit because I'm not my sister and all. And so I really give Lydia Leonard a mention too for Marta. I thought that was a really interesting take as
yes.
well. But nothing can beat Emma. Like she writes small roles for herself really, really well. Whether they were meant for her or not, like she knows how to own that scene.
I think we all have pretty good picks for this one. So let's move on to the Bill Murray Award for Best Cameo. There's a couple in here that are really, really funny. I had a couple of options, but Gia, I want to start with you on this one. Who's your pick for this?
Patti LuPone. Duh. She was one of the customers in the store, and I thought that was perfect. She played a character. I think it was
with the two babies. With the two babies.
Yeah, that was her. I love it. Yeah. But can we also talk about that it was a tacky Christmas shop too? Like everything in this was just so unexpected, and the part with like the whole Yugoslavia aspect too, like that historical context was cool too. But yeah, definitely Patti LuPone.
Yeah. I have two. Let's see if Jader takes one. Jader, who's your pick for best cameo?
Jesus Christ.
All right, you're not ready?
I can't even think of too many people that like really cameoed in this film. Like I can tell you like a character again, but that would be a sharpshooter in my opinion. Someone that was in the movie and like I really got again, I guess he didn't have a big enough role for a supporting character. But I really like the guy that's always telling her, "Did you find your Tom?" In the
homeless shelter guy.
The homeless shelter guy. Like I thought he was a really cool character. Very in and out of the film. Again, he's probably in 4 or 5 scenes total. But I don't know. I thought he was going to be a little bit bigger, but I just kind of like that he was always in a positive attitude. The way where the guy was selling her, where she brings in the $5. And he's like, "Oh, I've seen this a bunch of times," and eventually they'll give up and never come back or whatever. And he's like, "Dude, your negative vibe. I'm just not messing with that right now or whatever." And he kind of goes. And then he was there in the audition scenes and doing the clapping and all that. And when they go out, and he's like, "Hey, did you ever find your Tom or whatever?" She was like, "Found my Tom." Little things like that. So I guess I'm gonna give it a Buddy. Mostly because I wasn't prepared for this question. I honestly was watching the whole time, like with the categories in my head, and I didn't really have anybody as a cameo.
I got quite a few. So first, Peter Serafinowicz. He is the Tick. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's one of the judges when Amelia goes to audition for her big role.
You got hired.
Yeah. You got the role. He's so funny in this. And then Rob Delaney is sitting right next to him the entire time, just around funny lines. When she just starts saying, he's like, stop. All right, let me look on the next one. No, you didn't get the part. Just out of here. He's funny.
That was shit. He goes, that was shit.
That was shit. They're both funny. I went with, though, my pick is Ansu Kabia, who, if you guys don't know who this is, he was his name's Ansu Kabia, and he was the husband to Amelia Clark's best friend when she stays over. He's the one who's building all the origami stuff, and his stuff keeps getting crushed by her. It's just the face he has the entire film, where every time she says anything, he just has a dead look on his face, like she's gonna fuck up again. She's gonna do something. We're gonna have to kick her. It's gonna happen. He was so funny to me. That's my pick. I think one other guy I want to throw out is the homeless man who steals all the biscuits. He's just he's a bundle of joy in this film.
Dude, him and the Elvis guy. That Elvis guy had a fucking hell of a voice, dude. That was awesome.
No,
Yes.
I was like a judge. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, he did fucking great.
He did.
So,
and I wonder if that scene was added because they had so many fun, talented people. You can't help but think that maybe they added a few scenes.
I mean, it feels deliberate kind of on Feig's part because we've pointed out this quite a bit that they're not showing homeless people as downtrodden. Like they're talented. They're all singing along with her when she's outside of the homeless shelter and trying to raise money. They become best friends. Like they all have personalities. They're all people. They're not just people who they're not druggies who can't find homes or they've given up on everything. They feel like actual people. So that's what I really appreciate about this. Next category, the Gary Oldman Everyone Award for Best Overacting. I think there's a couple in here. Jader, I'm gonna throw it to you first.
Why? You know I'm not prepared. Why?
You know this is coming. This is episode 32. What do you mean you're not prepared?
Nothing mean, man. 23, 32, episode 1. I just show up, bro. All right. Gia, take it away.
Oh, okay. Well, in my humble opinion, I don't think anything was overdone because it's a Christmas movie and you can do whatever the hell you want. But of course the customer guy who's in love with Santa definitely overdid it, but in the most brilliant way. And you could make the argument that Emma Thompson was overacting or that Henry Golding was overacting to make it really cheesy. I don't think that, but I know a lot of friends who would think that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That guy, whatever his name is Peter McGinn. That's his name. He's also my pick. It's just the way that they film it, where he just whips open the doors and suddenly it's quiet and there's just chimes in the background, like, oh, it's this guy, and they lock eyes. It's like the most cheesy romance stuff you can throw into a film, but it works so well. And he's doing it to the perfect degree. So he was my pick as well for this. I'm so glad you said that. I've never seen him in anything before. He's mostly, I'm looking at his IMDb. He's in just like foreign stuff. So, but he was great. They just called him the boy. So that's my pick. Jader, we're back to you.
God damn it, bro. Now that it should be unanimous.
There it is.
You said it. I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. So I'm here looking at IMDb, but yeah, I guess I would have to. The Dane.
If you don't know their names, it's harder to decipher.
The Dane.
Yeah.
That would probably be the pick, to be completely honest with you, because everybody else is pretty solid. I mean, the first guy. I mean, it's not that he's overacting, man. The first guy she hooks up with, the guy that,
the one at the bar who goes to the jukebox with her,
Ed. Want to know why I remember that name? Because when she's like, "Oh, the guy," and the wife or girlfriend shows up, she's like, "Ed," and he's like, "Yeah, Ed." But
that was that scene was written perfectly because she said Ed twice to clarify, to make sure that she's like, "Did you shag him?" Like, I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Did you shag him? That's what I love. I forget that every time I watch a British thing. Is the word shag.
You not seen enough Austin Powers, bro? Come on, man.
All right. So the next category in here.
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
I love
it. To hear your take on this, Jader. The next category is what doesn't work, and I'm sure you have quite a bit to say. I guess the reveal didn't work for many people but it worked for me. I didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't know. I honestly. Okay, so let's flip this around, all right? Because obviously we know that's what I'm going to talk about. But you notice that Tom's character obviously was mysterious or a little off. What was going through your mind as you were watching this?
He's wearing the same clothes every single time.
Exactly.
But I also think
there was one scene where it went from purple to gray, because the whole time I'm like, he's wearing the exact same thing. So I'm like, this guy's homeless. I went homeless first, like I said. So I'm like, he's homeless. when he tries to bring her to the shelter for the first time or whatever, she doesn't want to go in. And I'm like, oh man, I guess he kind of dodged a bullet there, because they would have been like, hey, welcome home, dude. You know? But and when she goes to look for him, and they're like, what? Like, everyone was like, Tom, oh, night crew, I don't know who he is, the whole night. So obviously, you know, the writing was obviously trying to keep it mystique and all that. But I don't know. Again, it was when the whole heart thing and him telling her to look up the whole time, and I'm like, oh. So I went from that to Ghost of Christmas, you know, present, past, or future, or whatever, to I'm like, it's in her mind. But again, oh god, Tim's in. Tim came in.
I was about time, Tim. We called you and you showed up 30 minutes later. I mean, geez, Tim. This guy.
But so what? Okay, again, so you notice the clothes were the same. So all right, pick up from there. What did you think?
So I mean, so I'll jump into the next category real quick, just for a taste, is interesting details. One of the things I never notice, which is I guess apparent in this, is you never see any reflection of Tom anywhere in the windows, in the bus window when they're driving away. There is no reflection of him anywhere. So there is a way to pick up on it. It's like in The Last Jedi, when I guess at the end when Luke is, you know, portraying himself, or you know, putting himself across the universe, and you can't see him kick up the dust on that salt planet. Yeah. It's the same thing here. Like I didn't pick up on that. I didn't see that. He had me fooled the entire time. I thought that was a nice apartment that he had. At
the apartment, I had thought, I'm like, either he broke in and that's why everything was perfectly neat. But again, by then I'm like, it's all in her head. She's the one breaking in. Like, I honestly went like Fight Club rules, like right away, like pretty fast. Yeah. So that's why. But then that's the only part that kind of threw me off, where I'm like, not homeless, because I'm like, well, he has an apartment. I'm like, oh no, that's not his. That's not his fucking apartment. And when she shows up in the door and I open, I was like, I knew it, you know. So, so yeah. Sorry to keep
yeah. I never had the inkling that he was homeless, mostly because his coat was too nice, I think. Okay. But yeah, well, this kind of ties into the category of what doesn't work. I wasn't sure, like, I don't know how the ice skating rink scene worked. If she couldn't ice skate, how, like, who was helping her? Who lifted her up because she fell? That was the only thing that didn't work for me. But I'm with Kyle. I was pretty much fooled the whole time. And thank you for telling me the detail about the reflection. I never caught that.
Nope.
That's good.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't catch that.
No, and then when she gets pooped on in the eye, like, you know, he's standing right there, but I guess that like it's I don't even know how to.
It's kind of like when you watch The Sixth Sense all over again, and you're like, oh shit, you got me.
You got me. Yes.
But you know what? Sixth Sense had a good fucking twist at the end. I didn't see that. No, it didn't.
A great twist that I'm surprised they didn't make this movie 20 years ago at this point. It's such a good twist. All right,
it was a good twist.
Couple more interesting details. There's not too many. That the big one was the one I just told you guys. One was that they filmed on the London streets at 2 a.m. most times, because obviously London's always super busy. So 2 a.m. if you're someone who works in the film industry, 2 a.m. is very tiring. So like, you know, the movie, honestly, something I want to throw out there. This movie looks beautiful. The way it's shot, it's got that Christmas mystique to it that feels so well, and it gets you in the spirit right away. So, and also making her work at a Christmas shop all year long is just a great touch to it. So
love it. They also had a big La La Land influence, I have to say. Like the bench scene when he was walking on the bench, it looked just like La La Land.
It really did.
Don't you dare.
What are you doing?
Don't you dare. La La Land is a fucking national treasure, okay?
Oh, of course. Who are you talking to, buddy?
And Last Christmas is a Christmas miracle.
It's not.
La La Land is a Christmas movie. Also, I did a whole spiel about it. No, but it was just the homage. Like, it was the same idea. The lighting was not clearly the same level as All In, but I'm just saying it was similar to
Again,
me.
huge Paul Feig fan. So, Mr. Feig, if you're watching, I do love your work. Not my favorite, not my favorite of yours by far. But yeah, and I'm dying to cover La La Land on this show. So
okay.
We'll be talking soon about that because I adore that film.
Do you know how much?
And I adore it because I wanted to fucking shit on that movie so bad. And those are the best films when you hate it before it even comes out and you watch it and you're like, wow, that was a gem. But yeah,
I just watched it the other day with my best friend.
I remember you going crazy.
That will be for that episode. I am still fuming.
No, I remember when none of us had seen the movie, the trailer dropped, you went fucking ape shit on it. And I remember when it released, you bought it on DVD, Blu-ray, Steelbook, like you went buying everything. But I can't wait for that episode because that La La Land episode, I'm planning something special. I'll talk to Kyle about that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and we have to invite Gia on.
Please,
but
we're
probably gonna have a very special guest for that show that I've been keeping in contact with.
Emma Stone?
Oh my god!
So, huh?
Emma Stone?
I don't care who. I'll freak out. Whoever. I don't care if you have the freaking.
We're gonna. I'm
PA from that show. From the movie. I will flip out.
We're gonna have a good episode.
Okay.
All right, and one of the last details I had was Emma Thompson started writing this film back in 2010, so she's been waiting on this for a while now. I think it's really cool that Emma Thompson wrote this film. Sorry, I would have never.
I probably would have liked it in 2010. My taste has gotten like.
Oh, you're a snooty critic now. Oh, the Irishman.
You appreciate the sentiment now.
I probably would have been like.
Well, think about Emma Thompson movies. Like she did Sense and Sensibility. She did Nanny McPhee. She did Bridget Jones's Baby. Like that's her.
Like any of those fucking movies. This is the best film. Actually, Sense and Sensibility isn't bad. That's actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah. Well, plus totally different time too.
Yeah.
In like '94, I think. Yeah. And with Kyle, with what you said about 2010, like I didn't realize that George Michael and Wham gave them the rights to all of the songs years before he died, and he died on Christmas Day 4 years ago.
He did that. It sucks to joke about that, but I had to because I'm like, last Christmas, huh? Like it was pretty bad. Sorry,
but Jader, I thought you were someone to rely on. Now I'm just a shoulder to cry on.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Thank you for letting it sit in silence for a sec. Thank you for the help, guys. I appreciate that. Letting me sit in that. All right. Apex Mountain. I went with nobody. There's nobody who's it's Apex Mountain. It's just a great, enjoyable film. Obviously, Emilia Clarke has Game of Thrones. That's her Apex right now. Who knows where her career is going to go from here? That's her Apex. Henry Golding, it's way too early to tell. He's brand new. He might be James Bond one day at this point.
Crazy Rich Asians is probably his best so far. As much as I enjoyed Gentlemen, it is nowhere near Emma Thompson's best film. Probably Michelle Yeoh's boyfriend guy.
He qualifies.
He is Apex.
Yes.
Well, and I would say Lydia Leonard too. And huge shout out to her because she's a Tony-nominated actress. So she has a lot of film credits too. But I hope that this kind of pushes her forward. And she reminds me a lot of the sister in Fleabag. So who knows if they stick with that type of actress.
Did you guys actually see Late Night?
Yes.
Yes.
How was that?
How was that? It's really good. Yeah.
I liked it. I need to see it again. I only saw it once. But I would say it has a pretty similar feel to Last Christmas, honestly.
Okay.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Last year, so.
Yeah.
But I was looking through her IMDb and I just remembered how much I hated her in Saving Mr. Banks. So thank you for that, IMDb. I hated her in that. No, but she played the role so
You're
well.
supposed to hate it. Yeah.
Like,
Well, hate
exactly.
her character. Yeah.
I hated her character. Now, I should have hated her more because at the end of this film, she cries and is happy about the way Mary Poppins turned up. And we all know the real story that she fucking hated Mary Poppins too. And she was like, fuck you guys. But what's crazy? I always remember her as Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife in Junior.
Oh, hot take.
It's the first time I always because I don't know if that was the first film that I really, because again, growing up in the early 90s and coming up from, growing up watching all these Schwarzenegger films, I would watch anything that Schwarzenegger made. So Junior, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was the movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger is pregnant and he's having a kid.
Yeah.
Through a fucking experiment or whatever. I don't know if it's funny. I haven't seen it in a long time, but funny as hell back then. But she plays his wife. Danny DeVito plays the doctor. But I loved her in that movie. I thought she was so endearing. But I'm looking through her IMDb to see, is this her apex? And I'm like, hell no.
Hell no. No.
So many.
For me, it was Professor Trelawney in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
You know what? Yes, probably just because my love for Potter films. But
yeah,
absolutely.
It's not Paul Feig's either. We can go over him because he's Bridesmaids is like one of those classic comedies now. So
that's his 100%.
So let's move on to our. Oh, look at this doggy.
There you go. All right, we're good.
All right, one final category. Who won the movie? This is it. This is like when you walk away from this film. Who is the one person you were thinking about the most? Gia, I'm going to start with you.
Can you start with me? I actually want to answer this.
Go. Oh no, you're gonna say something creative. You're gonna take mine. I know you're gonna take mine.
We might all have the same one.
George Michael.
George Michael. Thank you.
Hands down, he won this film, dude.
100%. He's the one. George Michael. And I didn't know an original, a newer song is the end credits song that he wrote for the movie. Yeah. Yes. Kyle, do you agree? George Michael won the movie?
I thought I was gonna be like super creative and like you guys would go, oh, it was Thompson, and then you're like, oh no, it was Michelle Yeoh, and I'm like, nope, it was George Michael. But nope, we're all smart people here.
We're all smart people here, guys.
Christmas won the movie. That's who won.
George Michael won this film because I was like, fuck.
Well, yes, and it's a Christmas one because this is an amalgamation of the tough times of the holidays and just everything coming to a head at once, and and everyone is like coming like what she was dealing with on her own, and she pulled herself together in a time where, because I feel she would have had that kind of transformation if it wasn't in a different time of the year, I think, and that's just that. It's the magic of Christmas in a really real setting. That's what was cool about this. And this is and Steve asked a question, could you guys see this movie on the Hallmark Channel? No, it's too real.
It's too good. It's too good. You know what this movie does a really good job of is not making it like it. I don't know how long of a period this movie takes place over, but it makes it work when it really shouldn't. And here's what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how long she's going over meeting this guy because he's like, oh, I've been away for 2 days at one point. Or where's Tom been? Tom's been gone for another week. And then at the end, they're singing Last Christmas. So I'm confused as to when this movie starts, but I don't care because she's working in a Christmas shop. So to me, it's always Christmas.
Always Christmas. Good point.
It's always Christmas.
Yeah, good point. So the environment, like that's like up to interpretation too. And the fact that she had like a heart transplant also puts it in a different kind of mystical period because maybe it's just because we don't hear about heart transplants, but I doubt they happen like ever often. So it doesn't happen.
No. Yeah. So the positive I will say is that I liked how they took the lyrics to this song to make this film work.
Yes.
Because it did work. Again, saw it coming. I didn't see him as the donor as much as I saw him as like the Ghost of Christmas Past. But I did once he does this with her, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, he's probably telling her like, oh my God, like enjoy your second chance type shit,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Guys,
It's a miracle.
that is last Christmas. Thank you everybody for joining us this week. It was a fun episode, lively chat this week. Gia, thank you so much for coming on this episode.
Thank you for having me. I was very happy when you messaged me and asked.
Quick question. This is your friend, right?
David, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been live, man.
Shout out to
David, man. He's been great.
He's our best friend. Thank you.
I hate that I still, you know what, man? Well, this is episode 32, and I can't comment back because I haven't signed in for free on our StreamYard. I'll show you guys very quick. So I have this point of view. No, that's me. So it'll say right there where it says, I don't know what I'm doing, but it says sign up for free. So that's why I can't come. Oh shit. Am I still here? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So I can't comment back or whatever, but I'm gonna sign up as soon as we finish this episode so I can chit chat with the fans out there.
Absolutely.
Anyways, man, yeah, David was awesome, man. Tim said a couple of shit, even though
Tim,
he said interactive, least interactive he's ever been.
Yeah.
So do better.
Anthony was in there.
Anthony was in there. Christmas songs suck. That's the Anthony comment that I see. Steve's comment right under that is, well, that's just stupid.
We got Bert. Bert was in the chat today. So yeah, it was fun.
Jader must have guilty feet. So shout out to you guys, man, and thank you so much, man. Everybody's been killing the game, man. I see Anthony. Anthony, shout out to you, man. Everything you've been doing on your channel, man. Good shit. And again, the PCP, it doesn't mean drugs, man. It means, pop culture pros, check us out. I was against his name, I wanted gurus. I'm gonna throw that shit out there. Pop culture gurus. Nobody wanted it. So whatever. PCP won.
PCP could work too.
Well, we'll fucking make it work, But yeah, we gotta get Tim in an episode, man, so he can talk a little bit with us.
Yeah,
Tim
is a Jersey Boys fan. I like him.
That we delete TikTok from Tim's fucking fuck. JK, bro.
Oh
JK.
my god. Yes, yeah. Go ahead and plug your stuff again. Tell me about your podcast coming out.
Sure. Well, speaking of Tim, I know Tim is a huge Jersey Boys fan, and so David and I, who is kindly commenting so much, interacting with the episode today, we host a podcast called Silhouette JB Podcast, or JB Podcast, as we like to pronounce it, just like Nick Kroll and John Mulaney do for their Oh Hello podcast. Nice. And hysterical. Please check it out. Yeah, so if you want to deep dive.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you see that John Mulaney is going to do the reboot for Chip and Dale?
Yes, I did.
Andy Samberg.
So excited.
And Andy
Samberg. Huge.
Super excited for that. Continue. And I'm sorry.
No problem. That was my favorite Disney news out of all of it. And I'm really excited for that new, oh my gosh, I can't, something Vision. What, Wonder Vision?
The Groot
Wonder Vision.
It's the Groot series.
You know what? We're going to have to had a sideshow to review all these fucking episodes. I feel like we should do a Mandalorian episode by episode. I haven't seen today's episode, which everybody's going fucking crazy for. But I feel like we should start instead of having this weekly show, not only weekly show, but I want to review these shows because I'm so hyped for them, and I feel like WandaVision is going to be fucking phenomenal.
And Tim's actually been doing Mandalorian reviews with his buddy on the Empire show. So yeah, they've been doing really good on that.
Good shit.
Yeah. So Gia, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sure. Well, when you do those episodes, please, I can't wait for those. Please let me know. Yeah. And WandaVision is the only one I feel like I can really get into because it's hard. Yeah, well, it's hard for me to get into all these Marvel and DC movies. I'm not gonna lie, but
I am Groot series. What are we doing, guys?
I know. It's just I can't keep up, man. It's so much, and I'm so happy about it. I just need to take like a week and just not talk to anybody and watch all these movies. And so there's still the Let's JV podcast, and there's also She Fucking Did That podcast with our PCP friend Layla Rinzia, and we talk about the badass women that you never learned about in history class, including a lot of actors and film directors. So check
All
that
right,
out too.
so piggybacking off that.
Yeah.
And I know this has already been made a film, but have you talked about Hidden Figures?
No, we haven't. Not yet.
You guys need to.
Okay.
Have you seen that film?
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I know
need
it's actually
do me a favor as a Christmas wish, because I'm gonna use this holiday right now. Please watch that film. I don't know how Kyle feels about it, but I thought that film was so fantastic.
Okay.
And it, as much as I loved Hidden Figures, it pissed me off at the same time that me being a student, again, kindergarten through senior year, did not know any of those women's names, and they deserve to be known because they did so much and got no recognition until this film came out. So people, and it's whoever saw the film knows who they are. Other than that, and I feel like if you ever do an episode, invite your boy, because
we would love that.
Love to talk about these women. I don't know how Kyle's, you've seen Hidden Figures. They deserve recognition. Like, in my opinion, they were.
Katherine Johnson just passed away this year.
Yeah, she did.
I heard that. Yeah. Okay,
So,
well, thank you so much for the request. We would love to have you on 100%.
Let me know. Let me know.
If you ever talk about Margot Robbie, I'm on that episode.
Sure.
Have to. Gia, yeah, thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Look at that last comment, please, and plug it up in there.
Oh my God.
Next TikTok today.
Yes. Sam. I can't wait to see it. It better be up by the time we close this out. Jader, it was great to have you back again, man. I'm glad you're feeling better.
I'm so glad to be back. I miss this. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kyle, I'm not gonna lie, man. Kyle's that little engine that could. He's like, hey, dude, how do you feel? And I'm like, I think I'm gonna be okay, man. I think I'm gonna be able to do the show. He'll call me and I'm like, dude, I can't, man. There's no way that I can do this show. But you know what? He kept trucking, man. He did that episode. He flew solo, man, and he crushed. He really did crush. I'm gonna try not to get sick again, guys. I'm actually like now, not that I didn't believe that it was real, because I always thought that this shit was real, but you never know, like, it's gonna happen to me, you know. I honestly thought that I was precautious enough or trusted people enough that I wasn't gonna get it, and it was a simple, again, not to throw anybody out there, pick up my kids, went back home, got the text the next day. It's like, COVID positive, had a meeting last week at work. Someone carried COVID, carried it to me. Go get yourself checked. I felt perfectly normal. And I shit you not. This was Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Went to go get checked, felt fine. Thanksgiving, I had no Thanksgiving this year. I didn't have it in me, even though my family was like, dude, you don't have anything, relax, just come and chill with the family. I was like, I, in good conscience, can't do that, you know? Friday morning, 5 a.m., get a text message, COVID positive. Felt fine. Sunday, felt fine. Monday, I'm like, oh, fuck this. Like, it's probably like a false positive. Lower back aches, headaches the next day. And it started gradually getting worse, slowly. So, guys, please be courteous to everybody. I thank God that I didn't see my grandmother, my mom that suffered. I have asthma, so I was freaking the fuck out. Out of the 4 days that I was really, really, really bad, there was one day where I'm like, this is it. This is it, because I felt like shit. I was going to rush to the hospital, couldn't breathe the whole nine. This shit is scary. This is not a joke. It's not a joke. Thank God that, again, I was able to past it. I was able to, I don't want to say man through this, but I was able to get past it,
Yeah.
But be courteous, man. Be courteous. If you even feel a slight symptom, go get checked. We're getting test results as back as 24. Not 24 hours. Sorry, 20 minutes. 20 minutes, 24 hours, the whole nine. If you feel symptoms, anything, if you feel you have the slightest congestion, stay home for just a little bit. Go get checked and make sure that you're okay. Because you may not have it as bad, but somebody else will. So those are the little things that you got to be courteous about. Again, I felt like I had it pretty bad, but I know people that's had it worse. Not to end the show on a downer or anything. Just please be courteous, guys. It's very minimal effort that you have to do, and I understand it. Again, it's the holidays. You got to go shop. Amazon exists. I have not done any holiday shopping in store. Everything has been online, and it's been great. And they've been delivering things quicker than they say. So though, I hope she's asleep so she doesn't hear it. But my daughter,
This is a recorded episode.
yeah,
So-
I'm just saying. My daughter has been dying for these dolls, and they were sold out. But it said might arrive after Christmas. I ended up getting them today with the
Amazing.
expectation of it. So they've been, and shout out to anybody that we know that works for UPS, FedEx, Amazon, what have you, because these guys have been busting their asses off working, delivering, whether it's a PS5, whether it's a crybaby doll, whether it's iPhones, what have you, whatever the hot take commodity, whatever it is right now, these guys are working nonstop. So be courteous, guys, please. Please. That's all I have. I'm sorry. I've been rambling on all fucking episode.
No, thank you for sharing. And yes, everyone wear a mask, please.
Yeah.
And we're just glad you're feeling better, man. Thank God.
No, dude. Let me tell you, I'm honestly not one to bitch about being sick or anything. And again, I never posted. Kyle even asked me, he's like, dude, nobody knows. Do you want me to say anything? And I'm like, you know what? At first I was against it, where I'm like, no, don't let them know. But I'm like, no, people need to know that this shit, because I've been seeing there's always, it's like the right and the left. You're always gonna have different opinions. But I've seen lately so many postings on Facebook, Twitter, what have you, where it's like, do you know anybody that's actually died from COVID? It's like the new trend that I've seen more and more lately. I'm like, yeah, I didn't fucking die, thank God, but it sucked. It sucked. It's not something that, it's not like a common cold or like a fever it's not, man. Like, you feel like shit, and it's different parts of the bodies, whether it's, you're having a migraine. I was telling Gia and Kyle right before it, my eye sockets were hurting, where they tell you can't do anything. All you have to do is relax and take it easy. I'm like, all right, well, let me relax and take it easy and watch some movies that I couldn't. Like, I ended up watching, because again, Steph had never seen Lord of the Rings, right? So we started our venture, our very long venture of watching our Lord of the Rings films, and I have the extended versions, right? So even longer. We started this venture in COVID, like March COVID, right? So she only saw Fellowship, and she saw about an hour of Two Towers. So now she's like, hey, look, we're both sick. Let's watch these movies. We started watching Lord of the Rings. Movies are fucking hella long, by the way. I couldn't even sit through the whole film as long as they were, because as I was watching it, I had a major headache, and like tears were coming out of my eyes, where I couldn't like watch the film, where I kept like cleaning myself. And any bright light that was hitting us, whenever there was a scene with Liv Taylor, I felt like, I don't know if you've seen that movie lately, but Liv Taylor cried throughout the whole film. That's how I felt. I'm like, that is me right now watching this movie, because it was just like tear ducts.
She's fluorescent.
Yeah, it fell. One gem that I did find, and shout out, this is a major shout out. One gem that I did find during COVID was Schitt's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have not seen that show, I can't recommend it enough, because it is, and this is no spoiler, It is a show, and it's a sitcom. It is 6 seasons, 13 episodes. I think the last season is 14 episodes long, 22 to 25 minutes each. It is not long, right? And it is about a family that comes from having everything to having nothing, right? They lose all their assets through a bad business deal, right? And the only thing they have, their only asset is this town that they bought called Schitt's Creek. And obviously Schitt's plays off the name a lot with, so they very well written by Dan and Eugene Levy. But I'm honestly so in love with the show because they created this world where homophobia, transphobia, whatever have you, doesn't exist, where it's all accepted while being funny as fuck and dealing with real issues. Not only real issues, like the writing is top notch, but it's also deals with a family that grows again, like needs to go through the trenches again. And it's just a very real show where you see them grow. I don't want to spoil too much because it's such a treat. It's a treat of a show. I finished it in a week, all 6 seasons. The show is done. The show is done. There's no more coming. Like it is wrapped already. It's on Netflix right now. Every show is 22. Even the finale, you know, the finale is usually extended for a little bit. 22-minute episode finale. So you get what you get. It is what it is. It sucks because they could have gone for so much more. But I've seen so many interviews where they're like, we just wanted to end it this way because we know what we have and we don't want to just milk it for what it is. So they ended it on their terms, and I respect the shit out of that. So witty. They won so many Emmys for the show, and every
category.
Because you start this show and you're like, okay, so I understand that they're snobs and rich and all that, but the way that they grow, the way that they're like, all right, man, so money's not going to come to us anymore. We got to figure out a way to live. And the way from the arc from season 1 to season 6, top notch, one of my favorite shows of all time. It sucks that we live in a world where I have to warn people like, hey, there is some gay stuff in the show. It shouldn't be that way. Love is love, and I strongly believe in that. I don't see that, man and man, women, it is what it is, And I love that, again, they created this show where, again, in the world of the show, it's not frowned upon. There's not one episode where like the shock factor. That doesn't exist. It is love. Two people fall in love, and it is what it is, I cannot recommend the show enough. I know I've bantered a little bit off the topic or whatever. Schitt's Creek, if you guys have not seen it, I've seen so many people say it's overrated. I just feel like it's such a great show, so well written, so well acted, and I think it's the perfect show for 2020. It really is. And again, if you have the time or if you have COVID, sorry.
Oh, no.
I got that in a week, guys. Very fast show to go through.
Now go watch The Good Place too, because I've been telling you to do that for a while.
I know. Actually, you guys have recommended that show, and I promised you I was going to start it, but I heard how great Creek is, and I'm like, I got to watch the show.
I heard you say perfect show for 2020. I'm like, he hasn't seen Good Place yet.
Right. Yeah. It'll be right up there with it.
I have it. I will watch it, I promise.
Guys, we've gone on long enough. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys next time. I don't know when next effort will be, before or after Christmas. We'll discuss that. We'll let you know. Tuesday, there is going to be a show on this network of Christmas movies. So you might see a bunch of us pop in and out on that. Steve's going to be hosting that. Tune in. They had a Christmas episode.
I'm not coming.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be there anymore.
I want to go.
I'm busy,
Thank you guys so much. And we will see you next time, another episode of the Jader and Kyle Show.
All right. Thanks.